I remember distinctly. It was a Tuesday afternoon. My sister and I were playing in front of my uncle's house. She was 5 and I was 7. An old lady approached us with my mother in tow. She was disliked by girls in the village, but I was too young to understand why. She had a merciless face as she walked up behind my younger sister. "You two, come with me," she said to us. I looked up at my mother to see her approval. "Go with this grandma," my mother said. Too naive to envisage what was happening, my sister and I followed the old lady. However, my mother didn't follow. Suddenly, I felt anxious. Why isn't our mother coming with us? I wondered. Why did she leave us with this lady that nobody liked? "Grandma, where are we going?" I questioned. "Don't speak so much," she snapped. We tagged along obediently, like little kids do. We arrived in a small mud house which smelled of dirt and crushed leaves. In the corner of the room sat 2 other women whom I recognized from the village. They were what the locals described as doctors, even though they held no medical qualifications, or any, for that matter. Grandma walked up to the 2 ladies and rapidly whispered something in their ears, too quiet for me to make out what they were discussing. The 2 ladies made their way to me and my sister, each with a piece of black cloth in their hands. Fear settled over me. Where was my mother? One of the ladies grabbed my arms and blindfolded me. I kicked and pushed, but she had much more strength. I could hear my little sister also struggling. She was screaming and crying for help, but I couldn't do anything to help her. I was helpless. "Get off me!" I screamed, but the lady pushed me down with even more force. "It will be over soon, I promise," she said, as she took my skirt off and tied my legs to the table. I heard my sister scream from across the room. It was the most agonizing sound I've heard to this day. The sort of sound that I never want to hear again. I was blindfolded, so I couldn't see what was happening. My sister's crying died out eventually. If my memory serves me well, she passed out from the fear, the pain. Then came my turn. I felt cold hands on my thighs, pressing down. Grandma's hands? I started to struggle again. "Hold still!" Grandma hissed. I screamed, cried and pushed, but it was of no use. I was locked onto the floor. And then it happened. The cutting occurred really rapidly. To this day, I have never experienced pain as intense as being mutilated. It's the kind of pain I wouldn't wish upon my enemy. They cut us without any use of anesthetics. As a result, I passed out. I'm not sure how long it took for me to regain consciousness, but when I did, I felt sore. I opened my eyes to see one of the ladies applying crushed leaves to my wound. "It'll heal quicker this way." She smiled as if she had an ounce of sympathy in her. But I guess I can't blame her. She didn't know any better. She was following what people viewed as cultural norms. I stayed in that room with my sister for around a month. The ladies would visit us and put crushed leaves onto the wound daily until the wounds eventually healed into a faint scar. My mother would come and visit us often, bringing food and new clothes with her. I would ask my mother, "Why did they cut me? How could you let them do that to me?" After a moment of silence, she would reply, "My daughter, I did it to protect you. Those who are not cut in our village are looked down upon. No one will ever eat anything they cook. They are seen as impure, unclean. You would be an outcast, and I didn't want that for my daughters." I'm still very angry. Angry that they dared brutalize me like that. But I think they truly believed they were doing my sister and me a favor. In a sense, you could say it is their way of dishing out tough love, however unwanted it may be. Talking about what happened to me is traumatizing and embarrassing. Every time I speak of it, I feel the same fear and pain I felt on the day of the cutting. FGM has affected my life negatively. This unnecessary practice is the reason for my phobia of cuts. No matter how small a cut is or where it is, I have a panic attack. I am classed as one of the lucky FGM victims. Some girls weren't so lucky. A girl from our village died during childbirth due to complications as a result of FGM. I hope more girls speak up and share their stories, because together we can end this painful, life-threatening practice. I want my future daughters to grow up in a culture that is free from FGM. No girl should go through what my sister and I did. I will make sure my daughters don't.